Hey everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder of videos, and a tabletop role-playing aficionado. Welcome to another DM's Guild review of my written and a video series. Take a look at the adventures and supplemental material at the Dungeon Masters Guild website. With this video, I'll be reviewing the adventure Blinsky Is No Fun, designed by DM Sparky for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. A review copy has been provided for the purposes of this review. If you enjoy the content, consider using my affiliate links for online shopping and supporting me via patreon.com/Rogue Watson. This is a Curse of Strahd adventure. If you don't know Blinsky is no fun. As a one-off kind of shop encounter the party can have in the city of Vallaki in the Curse of Strahd campaign. I have not played Curse of Strahd. I have not DM'd Curse of Strahd. I probably need to at some point because it is still one of the most highest rated 5e campaigns around, and I'm getting lots of requests to play through Curse of Strahd. I have reviewed it, and I am familiar with the adventure, and for the purposes of this review, I went back and actually specifically read that section of Blinsky's toy shop, which is just a creepy toy shop where this very jovial man named Gadolf Blinsky is selling really creepy toys, and there's a little bit where Irina's brother is purchasing toys, likenesses of his sister. It kind of, there's a little bit of a storytelling development there, but there's not really anything for the players necessarily do here. So what this does is turn that toy shop into an entire adventure. The adventure is designed for 4th or 5th level, which I believe is about where the party should be when they're arriving in the town of Vallaki. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite type of products on the DM's Guild, which is something that expands a campaign that already exists. And that's what I love to do, right? I love to run these already published campaigns, have everything ready to go, and then tinker with all the little pieces. And if I can see other folks and how they expand various parts or places where I feel like there should have been more here, or I really like the ideas here, instead of just like a paragraph of notes, give me a full-on 12 or 20 page adventure that really expands this entire site. And that's what it is. This turns the toy shop into kind of a mini dungeon crawl and adventure site. It's got its own adventure hooks, and you are stepping in to deal with essentially a runaway evil toy that I guess kind of Chucky-esque, although the toy can't speak and it is evil mostly, but also kind of just misunderstood. It's just kind of enraged at being created, I suppose. And the party has to stop this evil toy. I think what really makes this adventure so intriguing for me is this sidebar here. What happened to Blinsky's family? So and I believe this is true of the original, is that he has a wife and daughter that's no longer in the picture, but it's up to the DM to actually decide why that is. Why is this man is very eccentric? He talks with a very funny, accent. There's all these jokes that the designer even included that he can say, I hate nesting dolls. They are always so full of themselves. That's just funny fucking jokes. You can talk and have a really fun role-playing scene here, but there's a dark undercurrent to this entire adventure, and it's up to the DM to actually choose why and the hows of the fact that the wife and kid are no longer there. One of them is just they left, which is kind of the default version, is he fell into a despair for whatever reason after the kid was born, and he never quite got over it, and his family just left, and that just put him in a deeper despair, and that's why all of his toys are really creepy and macabre and strange, and he's just kind of ended up being a weird dude. One option is they left, but then they died, which certainly makes him feel guiltier about all that. Another option is that the wife killed herself and the daughter, which puts more guilt on it. And then the ultimate one, which I love those little skull symbols to make it more darker, which it really is. And then the ultimate one is that he actually even killed his own family. Because the end state is that the twist that you find out, he is creating automaton constructs of his wife and daughter in order to try to bring them back to life, kind of a just Frankenstein's monster situation. So I just love that you can actually choose as the DM how dark you want to get with it, and that determines how the story kind of plays out, and it's reflected in the handouts that you find as well as certain notes. Like, for example, one of the rooms, you might find the poisoned tea set if the wife had killed herself and the daughter, and that's just kind of noted as a sidebar in here, that it's like, oh, by the way, if they reach this point, then That's what you find here. So it's not just like a thing at the beginning, it's like modular throughout, and then it even gives you multiple handouts at the end that change depending on which like note was written from Blinsky to the lost wife who either ran away or died or was murdered or killed herself. Lots of different options. Also, there's a really fun bit here where each level of the toy shop is supposed to reflect a different kind of darkening personality of Get Off Blinsky. And I love that it really gets into the themes of it. I don't really see, usually a whole section about this in an adventure where the first floor is meant to be kind of the original playful humorness in the toy shop, the toy maker. And that's the basic shop level. The second shop kind of goes into the angst and the despair and him falling out of favor of this and just running into mental problems and depression and can't get out of it. So you'll find like, rooms that are unused and cobwebs everywhere and books that are all like, coping with loss and all these things. And then the third floor, of course, is when we really drop the hammer and it's just horror. And we find all these really terrifying toys up there and including the new construct bodies of the wife and kid, which is supposed to be a big, scary twist thing happening, which I think goes off really, really well. And is cool to think of an adventure having those kind of layers of just going through this man's personality. It does offer some adventure hooks for getting the party involved in this adventure. It could involve just his pet monkey. He's got a little like whatever fun monkey in it too that was gifted him by somebody. It could be stealing from the party and the party just has to follow the monkey there. Maybe Gadoff actually personally hired them to take care of this doll that's, dealing with him, or really I think he hires them to go get the doll that's at Castle Ravenloft. I forgot that doll's name, but there's a backstory here that kind of ties that doll into Blinsky. And then they show up at the shop and realize that he's injured and the shop is actually like under attack by another evil doll, or maybe you're just hired from a noble to go purchase a toy from him, and then you end up at the store. Basically, the whole thing is you just need to end up at the store because then you'll find out that there's a quest in the store itself. So it could be the party's just stopping by in the store and then they realize like, oh shit, we need to, save you from this rampaging toy upstairs, even though he's like, no, he's fine. But clearly there's something dangerous going on up there. And it's a dungeon crawl. The first floor is just, the shop and like a kitchen and things. It's not dangerous at all. But once they go upstairs, he gives them the key to explore upstairs. And that's when we get to the upper floor, which includes kind of a more creepy atmospheric storytelling with one combat encounter, really one danger in general. I don't think there's really any traps up here, is the devil doll. And this devil doll is the thing that he created, I think as a way of like trying to see if he could do it, like create an automaton that's kind of alive, I guess. But of course it went crazy and is creating a rampage up there. I do love that the designer put a motivation for the devil doll though, which is that it's trying to reach the voice box on the third floor so that it can properly speak and express its discontent to Blinsky. It's not just a chaotic, rageful creature, although that's kind of how it's presented to the party. So it's interesting at the end, the best ending is actually to allow the creature to complete its task, and then it will go and talk to Blinsky. And then it's odd because if the party does nothing but allow it to complete its task, get the voice boss that's in a locked room upstairs, and then come back downstairs and talk to Blinsky, they'll actually work things out, and it's like the happiest ending. I don't know how the party would ever pick up on that with this murderous doll trying to kill them, but you can still have a fine ending if you just take the doll out. The doll, by the way, is given a hell of a stat block for a hit-and-run creature. It's very, very hard, I find, in 5th edition to create a creature who is, not designed for a straight up combat fight where you're supposed to hit the party with some ability or two and then be able to escape. I find it very hard to escape because the party has lots of abilities to lock things down. But this and even at, whatever they're at 4th or 5th level, this creature does have some fabulous abilities though. Obviously, false object lets you get off that at least initial surprise attack because it just looks like a normal doll sitting down. It has a sneak attack, so it does extra 46 damage and gets an automatic crit against anybody it surprises, so you ensure it's going to come out swinging pretty badly. It has mesmerizing gaze, which can stun a victim with a wisdom save, and that is part of its multi-attack action, which is very deadly. It can also summon minions in the form of swarms of killer toys, which are given their own like descriptions and stat block. And it has the rogue cunning action, so it can bonus action, dash, disengage, or hide, and has legendary actions, including the ability to just move without incurring opportunity attacks. So all of those abilities together means it's really, really good at attacking people, shocking them, stunning them, doing terrible things, and then escaping, which is the most important thing, because for this adventure to really work, you need to have that initial shock, horror, attack. Horror in general really needs to have creatures that can hit and run, and be able to escape. And it's through its escape that they realize there's a hidden staircase in the, let's see, where are we? The second floor here, where it kind of jumps into this hole, and then you follow it up into the third room, and that's where things get really more horrifying, and you get to a bunch of barrels with like gunpowder and chemicals in them, and you reach this room that is really cute toy mimic, where you think it's really creepy, but it's kind of an animatronic mimic, which is still kind of does its mimic thing, just doesn't do any damage. But then all the toys that are like around in the boxes and stuff, they all turn to life, including the devil doll, and they attack. And there's little coffins where you can see the mother and child automatons are in there as they try to get in there and get to the voice box. These maps are fabulous, by the way. Lots of detail in them, which I appreciate. I just wish they had color. I am going to have to ding the adventure on not having color maps, so it's not going to quite look very good on a virtual tabletop, but I do give huge props for giving me very nice looking maps otherwise with actual detail on them for all 3 levels. So that's a huge plus in my book. Also, a full D100 table of creepy toys, because there should be toys everywhere. And there's even a separate one where there's a description of like what the animated toys look like. A monkey banging 2 skulls together, a bard dressed in funerary garb that plays the bagpipes. There's a lot of fun references in the toys. Also, that, which is a clown doll with a sinister fanged face. Camp counselor, a puppet wearing a sports mask over its face, holds a toy axe in its hand. You can find lots and lots of just Fearby. If you know any kind of toys in general, like there's a lot of funny references in here. Clay-Doh, My Little Kelpie, Sparky the Dragon. These are fantastic. I had a lot of fun reading through the D100 of creepy toy list. And then at the end, they might fight the automatons. They might not. They might take out the doll. They might not. They find the voice box. I would love if you could try to figure out that the doll is actually a weirdly sympathetic character. I kind of wish the adventure leaned more into that, because I was very intrigued when I saw the ending. The epilogue was like, oh, by the way, if the doll confronts Blinsky, it's actually like the best ending because it expresses its concern about being mortal. But Blinsky is like, oh, but you could be my new son. And they work things out and everybody's happy, which is kind of shocking. And I think that's actually a fun twist at the end. But to do that, you would have to give the player some idea that the doll is just trying to get to a thing and not just trying to murder everybody in sight. But that's still pretty fun. And for an adventure that's, what is this, 20? That's actually pretty long. It's about 30 pages. I think it does a lot with those basically like 3 encounters and relatively small space. I think it tells a pretty fun story and really does exactly what I wanted it to do, which is focus on a singular like encounter or location in a pre-published campaign and just expand it and make it more interesting and more memorable. And I think that's exactly what this adventure does. Let's go over my pros and cons for Blinsky Is No Fun. Pro, modular choice for Gadov's family backstory. This is such a cool aspect of this adventure. I cannot give enough praise for it, where the DM gets to choose how exactly dark this adventure is in terms of the context of his missing family. And even if you want to go the darkest one, where he murdered his own family, and then you get to the automatons and they rise up and they've got like the faces like just stitched over the I mean, you can go really fucking dark with this if you wanted to, or not dark at all and just say like, oh, he just got sad and because they left and just started making toys, and now he's trying to make these robots, and they are just constructs of his, missing wife and kid, because he just misses them and has this weird morose malaise, in which case there's not really necessarily a good ending here other than, well, I guess the good ending is you realize he can reconcile with the devil doll, but he's not. I think it works best if he's actually sympathetic and the doll is sympathetic. It gets more interesting when the characters are 3-dimensional, right? I think that really lends itself some good storytelling. Pro, the D100 table of creepy toys is absolutely fabulous. I love all these references here, and there's a legit like 100 unique items in here. Pro, the Devil Doll stat block is amazing for hit and run tactics. I made sure to highlight how cool this stat block is and how well you can use it to get around and do terrifying things, really lock people down and make them paranoid and terrifying the first time you encounter it. And then the second time, by the time they're creeping up the stairs, they're like, fuck, this thing is squirrely and can stun us and stab us. We got to start like really paying attention to everything that's around. You open that one room and there's just like nothing but toys everywhere. They're going to be like, nope, and shut the door, I think. But what a fabulous stat block this is. And Pro, I will call attention to the maps as a Pro for detailed DM and player map versions. They're included. This is obviously the DM version with the annotations on there, but we are given player map versions for all 3 levels of the toy shop, which is amazing, as well as having all of these nice player handouts that are thankfully given non-immersive versions so we can properly read what they actually say. The con, I think, is just going to be that the battle maps lack color. The adventure does include AI art, which is, I believe, mid-journey and then edited by the actual designer. I think in this case, I think it does AI art fairly well in terms of their smaller pictures. They're less like people-based, and they're just more immersive. I probably didn't need to the extent of all of this art. I don't know. I almost feel like it makes it feel like more video gamey in a way, like an adventure game, like I'm going room to room and seeing pictures versus an RPG where I'm kind of forming it in my head. So maybe we're going a little bit overboard. Like this is really good though. Like the automaton stuff is very creepy and strange. This definitely looks AI art, but all like the creepy toys in a bundle right here. I would probably recommend not relying on big AI art to do the the cover page, I think especially, but otherwise it's small enough and it's mostly inobtrusive to where I didn't think it was a huge concern of mine to see it, but I do want to obviously always call that out. But I mean, this is kind of the future we're looking at, and I think you're going to be seeing more and more of this. I'm certainly seeing more and more of this as somebody reviewing DM's Guild products as well. Final verdict: Blinsky Is No Fun expands a one-off encounter in Curse of Strahd into a satisfying little dungeon crawl mystery. Thank you everyone for watching this video review. You can see my written review at roguewatson.com. You can watch more reviews and follow our own D&D adventures here on the channel. And you can support my work at patreon.com/RogueWatson. Shoutouts to Platinum patrons: Joe, Will, Thomas, Dan, Brandon, Genocider, Eclectic, Roleplay Roll, Christopher, Corey, Big Nut, John F, John L, Eric, Tyler, Nathan, Crystal, Counselor, Andrew, Del, The Reldrin, Captain Woody 79, Stephanie, Andy, Patrick, Jason, Ismail, Amit, Limbs Buds, Sharni, David, William, Amnesiac, and Gold patrons: RPG, Papercrafts, Pretty Boy, and Yuma, Dillas, Lounge, Sam, Drome, Nathan, Fast Like a Tortoise, Scott, Rufus, Carolyn, Jerry, Glenn, Marcus, and Mark. Thank you all very much for your support.